to have served as chairman of the Board of Regents here at Texas Southern University since April of 2007. As chairman, I'd like to welcome all of you to the Texas Southern University campus, especially my former colleagues and my friends in the legislature. We're glad to have you here. I think this is an important thing to have this conversation and this dialogue, and Texas Southern University is extremely proud to host and be part of that. That's part of what universities ought to be doing. It's education. Thank you very much.
On your behalf, let me call up Senator Rodney Ellis.
Thank you, Chairman Turner. And Sylvester, I want to thank you for doing this tonight. I talked to our colleague in Dallas, Helen Giddings, and she and Royce West and the other African-American legislators in North Texas are having a town hall meeting at the same time that we're having this one here. So the Texas Legislative Black Caucus is heard in Central Texas, as well as here in Houston, as well as in North Texas. So Sylvester, give you a round of applause for doing it. You really gave me 3 issues, and I'm going to do them in 5 minutes. You told me I'd come first. I was going to go to Dallas tonight, but I'm too old to leave here and go to Dallas, and then hop on a plane and get to Austin tomorrow, so I'm not going to run out tonight. First, I want to thank the folks from TSU for bringing us here. Your staff asked me to give a quick update. TSU's budget is $156 million, $156,017,121 for the next 2-year cycle, Mr. Chairman. That is not enough, but it is an overall increase of $6 million for the 2012-2013 budget and $4 million over the 2010-2011 budget. Because of historic underfunding issues at Texas Southern University, we made tremendous strides back in 2000. And we made those strides because people in this room marched, if you're old enough to remember that, from Texas Southern to the University of Houston. It was not a march because anybody was against the University of Houston, but to make the point that there are still historical vestiges of discrimination in higher education in Texas. As a result of that, in the Clinton administration, we signed an agreement with the federal government that led to something called Office of Civil Rights Funding. And for about 10 of those 13 years, we were rolling pretty good. Mr. Chairman, we'd get that extra money almost automatically. We had to fight this last go around and do as much as we could to get there. We made progress, but still not enough.
Okay. Now at this time, let me call on Representative Boris Miles, who's going to be covering the voter ID elections and redistricting. We're going to see if he can do it in 5 minutes.
I will try, my chairman. Let me first thank TSU for also hosting us here and the leadership of my chairman, Sylvester Turner, and thank you for allowing me to be your voice, particularly in District 146. This past session, I had the honor of serving as Vice Chair of Elections. From the beginning of this session, I realized our primary goal was to play defense to prevent the calculated assault on Minority Voting Rights Act that has been going on since 2005. I am pleased to report to you today that no legislation damaging as the voter ID bill that was passed in 2011 was passed this session. Let me repeat that. No legislation as damaging as the 2011 voter ID bill was passed this particular session. The worst bill for minority voters that moved through the process was HB 148. Initially, the bill was created for state jail felonies for people who were, if you presented more than 2 mail ballots. I want y'all to think about that because I see a lot of people in here that work campaigns. They were trying to put a state jail felony on anybody who presented more than 2 mail ballots. Those include people who are just helping the elderly, college students who were going out to register people for voting, and we made it really bad for our community. We brought the fight, in fact, it was going to be criminalized a lot of good Samaritans in an attempt to go after paid voting harvesters. Through democratic efforts, the final bill completely eliminated the limits of Good Samaritan's voting collection. The final version of the bill passed only criminalizing the paid voter harvesting problem. So if any of y'all are out there, and you know who you are, that get paid to harvest votes, I will warn you now, the law will go into effect in January, and it will be now a state jail felony if you were caught doing such
a regular session and the special dealing with the assault on women and a number of other issues. There could be no greater advocate and fighter for those issues than the person that I'm about to introduce, and the person whose ideal it is for us to be here tonight in a collective fashion town hall meeting, and that's none other than the Dean of the Texas House, Sophronia Thompson. Give it up for Sophronia Thompson.
Thank you very much. I want to talk to you first about equal pay for equal work, particularly for women. I carried a bill for equal pay and was passed by the House, and I had to go and help to get it passed in the Senate. And Senator Ellis was so gracious to help me get it done over there, but it was a lot of hard work. And this bill grew out of Prairie View A&M University hired a woman to fill a professorship and paid her less money than the man who had just left the job. So she filed a lawsuit, and after filing this lawsuit, she decided she wanted to go into state court. She went into state court and missed the deadline by 1 day because she thought that our laws were harmonized with the federal laws, which we normally do. I filed this bill, got it passed, House and Senate. Guess what? That's right, Governor vetoed it. But it does not mean that women doesn't deserve equal pay for equal work. At the end of the day, when a woman retires, how many years has she been cheated out of money that won't be a part of that retirement? And when there is a difference in the needs that she may need, who picks that tab up? The public.
I want to thank Representative Thompson, and then we can come back to it when we're dealing with questions. At this time, let me call on Representative Ron Reynolds, who will be discussing some of the hub issues dealing with minority contracting, and then will provide a brief explanation on the Castle Drive doctrine versus the stand your ground. Representative Reynolds out of Fort Bend, Missouri City.
Thank you, Chairman Turner. And let me say, it's great to be back home. I'm a proud product of Texas Southern University. So any Tigers in the house? All right, TSU. I know, Senator, you're a product of Texas Southern, and we're very proud of this university and the great things that has been taking place under the leadership of Dr. Rudley. I also want to recognize two gentlemen that are in the room with us today. Ben Mendez, stand up, Ben, who is chair of the Texas Association of Mexican American Chambers of Commerce. Ben, thank you for being here. And also William Traylor, the chair of the Houston Black Chamber of Commerce, formerly known as the Houston Citizens Chamber of Commerce. William, will you be recognized? And the reason why I recognize those two gentlemen is because I'm here today to talk about the HUB program, the Historically Underutilized Business Program. How many of y'all know Texas has a HUB program? How many of y'all know Texas does a miserable job of making sure that there's a level playing field for minority business?
Let me call on Representative Dutton out for his comments. Representative Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to be brief. I probably have the distinction of being the only member up here where the governor actually vetoed two of his bills. And the governor and I are friends, and so I sent him a note telling him he and I finally agreed on something when he decided to leave. But anyway, let me set the backdrop for this, because I know some of you may not quite understand what I'm about to say, but everything that happens in the legislature is political. I mean, absolutely everything. There are 95 Republicans in the House and 55 Democrats. And so much of the success that we have has to do with trying to overcome just the sheer numbers. And that sometimes is difficult. But as a group, I will tell you that the Legislative Black Caucus sometimes is able to do things that just looking at the numbers you might not assume we could do. Let me talk about the budget real quick, and I know Sylvester's on appropriations. I haven't served on appropriations since 1991. But let me see if I can set the backdrop for the appropriations bill. There's general revenue, which is the money that we get from Texans, adds up to be about $95 billion over the next biennium, and that's the next 2 years that we provide the budget for. And while we spend $95 billion, let me see if I can crank it up this way. For public education, for every dollar we spend in the whole budget and GR, 40 cents of that dollar is spent on public education.
Happening in education. Representative Almath.
Sorry I was late this evening, had a flat tire. It's too hot to have a flat tire, don't do that. It was my pleasure this year to serve on the Education Committee as the Vice Chair of Education. And I have some handouts over on the end, if we could get those out. I have 100. I didn't expect this massive crowd. I'm glad that's a problem for us this evening, but I have 100 handouts, which will be identical to what I'm saying here right now. This was a banner year for education. And as I said, it was my pleasure to serve. This is my second term serving on the House Education Committee, but my first term as Vice Chair. Now, I've served in the House now for 5 terms. This will be my 5th term. And you know my background is education, but you do know they did not put me on the Education Committee, right? Because, and that goes with the number of people who are controlling. So remember that, it all goes back to the ballot box. So everything you wanted us to fix and everything you want us to fix tomorrow goes to the ballot box, and your vote is so important.
Questions. Let me just say on the financial end, on education, in the last session before last, we ended up cutting public education by $5.4 billion. It was a tremendous cut. In this legislative session, we pretty much added back close to $4 billion.
Janelle Robles, and I'm a Houston resident, and I was very impressed with the town hall. Very appreciative to the Texas Legislative Black Caucus for putting this together and really trying to unite the voice of the Black community to act in a uniform manner on the issues that are most affecting and impacting them. And as a Latina, I was very happy to be here and to hear this, and also to see how Latinos and Hispanics and African Americans in Houston, Texas can work together, because these issues similarly affect us as low-income and minority communities.
What do you think about the town hall meeting today, sir?
Well, I think just like we were just talking about that, I think it's a day late and a dollar short. We believe that some of the black leadership is a little bit late in telling us some of these issues, particularly with business contracts, right?
Right, that's true.
What about you, Liz?
Well, I'm of the same mind. I really feel like, when we're going to them individually, because some of us are going to them. Everybody's not just reaching out later. We just feel like we'd like to see them respond to the things we need them to respond to when we are, because we are reaching out to them.
I'm Lana Edwards, running for City Council District B. I thought the town hall meeting was outstanding. It's something that we need all the time, not just after the sessions, but during the sessions. I think our legislators did an excellent job, and I'm looking forward to communicating with them and partnering with the community to extend the communication that we expand to people.
Kevin Hoffman. Yes, I thought that it was a great meeting. There was one topic that was touched on, and it was about the contracts for HISD and the lack of contracting for minorities. HCC also has that same problem, and HISD, there's been also not only in contracting, but in employment opportunities for not only the African American community, but also for the Latino community.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Kerry Thornton.
And what did you think about the town hall meeting?
It was great. Brought out a lot of points that I'm sure people had on their mind. We got a chance to hear from citizens,